don't need to go into ancient history to think about the changes that really matter for us. So if we just go back to the early 1900s, this was the beginning of the electric light bulb. And prior to that, we didn't really see shift work. And then we move forward a little bit more and we see the development of antibiotics, which changed the world and has saved millions of lives, billions of lives potentially. Then we had the industrialization of our food supply, whereas not that long ago, the bulk of the food that we ate was raised fairly locally. It was consumed rather locally. We had a seasonal variation to it. We didn't always have oranges and watermelons around and stuff like that, in the dead of winter. If we go back just a little bit, when I was born, this was pre-information age. So people watched TV. There were 3 channels when you got up and turned on the TV. And then with the development of the information age, we've seen a dramatic decrease in the amount of physical activity that people do. And then now in the modern information age, we can work from home, order our food to our front door, never go outside, go online and tell our doctor that we have a sore throat and get antibiotics delivered to the front door. We could construct a life where we literally never have any meaningful social interaction. We try to paper over that with social media. And so in a very brief period of time, really in the period of one very long lifetime, or certainly 2 generations, longer lifetimes, we've seen every facet of our lives change in really profound ways and in a larger way than happened in the totality of the rest of history.
The epidemic of chronic illness has not yet spread to developing nations. It is really a problem in modern industrialized world. So the question is, why are autism, ADHD, asthma, autoimmune diseases, allergies, why are these so endemic in modern industrialized world? And the reason why is because we live differently.
What's happened in the last 40, 50, 60 years? Is there anything that's changed that may contribute to the end point result where we're getting sicker quicker?
Now it's official. The experts in epidemiology have confirmed that in the last few years, life expectancy is not growing anymore, it's regressive. And insiders say it's actually regressive since 1997, but the official numbers is now in the last 2 years, it's going downhill, it's going downhill rapidly.
We have more scientists, more doctors, more therapists, more gyms, more chiropractors, more osteopaths, and more nutritionists per capita than we've ever had, and we're the sickest people we've ever been.
We have a crisis coming that needs to be acknowledged.
If you look in the index of medical textbook that a medical student would see in their program, and you look for health in the index of that textbook, you're not going to find anything. There's no definition of health in most medical textbooks. The primary focus is on disease.
We treat the body as if it's a bunch of different parts, and we go to the doctor for that part. We have a headache, we go to the head doctor. The problem is our headache might be caused by what we're eating, or by our gut flora, or by a nutritional deficiency, or by a toxin, and we don't have a way of mapping that because the way that the science is shifting so fast, we haven't caught up clinically.
Up until really very recently, people had every reason in the world to think that health and disease were a matter either of bad luck, punishment from God, or more recently, the unfortunate scripting in our genetics of just a bad health hand. And this is just echoes of a tired, old, outdated story of health.
And that is the next barrier that we have to overcome in the search for longevity, is looking, how do we understand how to keep ourselves healthy over the long term? And that's not something that the medical system has ever really thought about. That wasn't really in their remit. And the truth is that it's probably not going to be created by a medical system. It's going to be created mainly by patients, and patients being inspired by content, by providers, by each other.
According to a study by Paul Marston from the University of Sussex called Memetics and Social Contagions, Marston suggests that when faced with a variety of different options, our decision-making ability is to simply go, oh, what is everyone else doing? Great, I'll do that too. And so because of this, we blindly follow the rules from generations past. But the problem is, the world is changing faster than these rules are changing. But today, things change so fast that the rules from our parents, the rules from our society, the rules from our religion often no longer apply.
For me, the future of longevity is about keeping that ancient wisdom going, but using the best bits of modern science to enhance it. That's where we've gone wrong.
We're mistaking what works in a more advanced medical model for what can work for health and optimal health in a different population.
We've got modern medicine getting into conditions that really it doesn't need to get involved with. We should let it concentrate on the stuff that has been life-saving, that has helped increase life expectancies.
We've progressed a lot, but we still know so little about what is it that makes us and whether or not we do really own our body, or it's someone else or something else that's actually running us.
We think that we've created some kind of, answer to longevity, but truly it's in indigenous cultures that we see longevity without all these fancy pharmaceuticals and different kind of manipulations to get there. They're living simply, but they're living for a long time.
And truly the things that keep you out of the doctor's office, and that really is the fountain of youth, secret to life, they're not sexy. They're nothing that science is ever going to show us is new. They're the basic things that our ancestors have taught us through the years, and really what we've lost in Western society.
In the spring of 2017, we traveled around the world to find out what we can learn from those who appear to be aging successfully without chronic disease.
There are these pockets of people that are supporting each other, that know each other's families, that have each other's backs.
They're intimately involved with the plants. They're intimately involved with each other. When someone is stressed, when someone's having a challenge, they all band together, they help each other. They laugh a lot, they have fun, they know how to, they don't take life too seriously. All these things are important.
Health just seems to happen to these folks in a very natural way. They live in communities, they're in relationships with people. They don't stress out about small things.
My guess would be they're not so attached to being on iPhones and iPads and computers. My guess would be they're not on Facebook trying to prove, defend, get their needs met. And they have a much deeper feeling of acceptance from themselves and everyone that's around them.
They don't think about health. Health is the default option for them by virtue of the way that they choose to live their lives.
Sí, le gusta, pues, pero da una vueltilla y ya volvería ya andando un ratito, no, ya yo me siento bien, pero cuando voy allá a la finquita que tenemos, agarro un machete y ando trozando matones ahí.
Non bisticciare mai, sempre andare d'accordo nelle cose sul lavoro e su tutte le cose. Pace, lavoro e giustizia.
Quanti anni tieni? 105 anni. Sono giovane. Mi sembra giovane.
Si sente.
Non lo so neanche io.
Pura vida es sentirse uno bien. Pues es pura vida es sentirse bien en todo, no tener problemas, no tener nada. Y eso es pura vida. Me siento pura vida.
What are all of these people doing? They're all living very similar lifestyles. And what they're doing is they're living on this planet the way we evolved to live on this planet.
Io conosco solo I cibi naturali. Anche ora, se potessi, mangerei solo quello che prenderei io in campagna e mangerei il pane buono che non esiste più. Niente supermarket.
Tanto los niños como los viejos consumen un 90% de frutas. Todas las épocas hay frutas. Ahorita tenemos mangos, guayabas, marañones. Y qué rico un fresco de marañón. Mi señora licúa mango tierno, mango sazón, lo licúa y ese fresco es riquísimo. Cuando hay mucho mango maduro, también le quita la cáscara y la pulpa y lo licúa otro fresco riquísimo. Aquí, por lo general, no tomamos esos embotellados, solo comida fresco natural.
L'elettricità non c'era dappertutto, c'era solo nei grossi centri. Nei piccoli paesi c'era la candela, il lume, e quindi tramontare a letto.
No pienso en nada, nada que lo que ando haciendo. No, la mente no está alcanzando cosas de más allá, ¿no? Está en lo que está.
Un chiquito, pequeñito, lo llevamos al mar, a bañarse al mar, porque así no sufría de resfríos. Y por el yodo del mar y qué sé yo, todo ese cuento. Y así nosotros no tuvimos esos prejuicios de que las bacterias, ahora sí tenemos exceso de bacterias, porque ahora hay un montón de contaminación. Pero en aquella época no vivíamos eso.
Ma i giovani non lavorano oggi come prima. Prima facevamo un lavoro pesante e camminavamo a piedi, ora si cammina in macchina, ora diventati tutti, sono nati in macchina, sono nati a cavallo, sono nati a sedia, diciamo. Ma allora erano nati in mezzo alla povera, per dire, hanno sacrificato le nostre mamme per sollevare i bambini, le famiglie.
Γιατί δεν υπήρχαν αυτοκίνητα, δεν υπήρχαν δρόμοι. Εγώ έφευγα όταν ήμουν μικρός από εδώ και πήγαινα στον Άγιο Κύρικο με τα πόδια για να πάρω το πλοίο να πάω στον Πειραιά. Περπατούσα, ας πούμε, αυτά τα 35.
Io auguro sempre di obbedire all'anziano che sa per una certa esperienza e già sa dove mettere le mani e non lasciarsi assassinare da nessuno. Lui deve governare se stesso, per esempio. Praticare con gente, per esempio, buona, perché il proverbio dice chi va con zoppo impara a zoppicare.
As humans, we require connection. That's a huge part of our experience, is connecting with other people, feeling like we have a sense of belonging. Even a person in jail would rather be surrounded by rapists and murderers than being in solitary confinement by themselves. So that tells you the power of community and the power of connecting with other people, as a human experience. And that person would rather be surrounded by people that are ready to kill them than they would, to be by themselves.
There was a study recently where they found that loneliness caused more death than smoking or obesity. Loneliness.
Μου λέει πέρσι πέρασε ένας φίλος του το πρωί να πιούν καφέ. Περνάει ο δεύτερος και βλέπει το αμάξι του αλουνού. Σου λέει καφέ πίνει. Κατέβηκε κι αυτός από κάτω. Περνάει ο πέμπτος, περνάει ο έκτος. Μου λέει ήπιαμε 70 κιλά κρασί. Τη μέρα μπήκε κανένα στη δουλειά. Για καφέ. Και ήπιανε 70 κιλά κρασί. Αυτός είναι ο καριώτης.
だから今このアメリカの人はやっぱり寂しいと思う。個人を大事にしたがゆえにやはりこれが孤独につながってやしないかって。だから薬を飲んだりとかして、自分を癒すという気持ちで飲んでるかもしれない。これ癒しにはならないんじゃないかなと思うし、だから個人が大切ということは重要ではあるけれども、でも一人では人間は生きていけないから、そこにちょっと目を向けてほしいなと。特にアメリカ人はそうだとしたら、薬よりももっとやっぱり同じ人間としてやはり人と人とのつながりを考えていったらどうかなと思う。
Somehow we've all lost our way and become more disconnected from the bigger houses we have with bigger walls, from watching TV to all of these things. We've lost our way, we've lost our connection, but inside we have this deep yearning for it. And sometimes we just need our hands holding to remind us where we really want to be and get over those fears of reconnecting again, because the world's actually a lot safer than we think. People are a lot less scary than we think.
Αυτό το βρήκαμε έθιμο παλιά από τους προγόνους μας. Τότε ήταν και ωραία πανηγύρια, γιατί δεν ήταν αυτή η πολικός βία. Το κάναμε και για λόγους οικονομίας. Αυτά τα χρήματα που μαζεύαμε τα διαθέταμε για το χωριό. Και όλα τα πανηγύρια που γίνονται για ακόμα για αυτόν τον σκοπό.
Βέβαια. Και γλεντάμε κιόλας. Βλέπουμε ανθρώπους από άλλα χωριά, γίνεται μία... Πηγαίνω, γιατί σας είπα πιο μπροστά που είχα παρέα, που είχα στην ηλικία μου ανθρώπους. Τώρα οι περισσότεροι είναι νέοι. Έχω λίγους να συναντήσω, και πάω πάλι.
Panayittis brought a sense of authenticity that I've probably never seen when it comes to community. It was amazing to see everybody come together from the ages of 5 to 95 and share a space and share community and share food. Everybody would participate in making food during the day, and then at night everybody would sit down with their meal and their wine and their ouzo and just enjoy each other's company. The band would play all night long, and they would rarely take a break. The dancing circle that would form would contain dozens or hundreds of people arm in arm. When one person would leave, another person would join, and the circle just wouldn't die. These people were partying all night long until the wee hours of the next day. It was amazing to see the collective community come together and just have a good time, spend time together. Everybody just seemed to look forward to this time of celebration, of laughter, of joy, and it really was a gift to experience such an authentic form of community.
I mean, here's the thing. We are social beings. We need each other. And when we have community, when we have friends, when we have people that hold space for us, we tend to perform better. We tend to enjoy life more.
The most elusive, but perhaps the most powerful ingredient in meaningful life change and healing is readiness. I believe that there is, for each of us, a point of readiness where we can begin to understand our own personal history and integrate all of the shadow elements, all of the stones we don't want to turn over, all of the skeletons in our closet, and embrace that as a part of, perhaps even a necessary part of how we have become who we now love ourselves to be.
We all live in a world that's getting faster and faster. Time is starting to speed up, and unless you learn how to stop time, you are going to be in trouble. And so one of the tried and true ways of doing this that's non-denominational, you don't have to change your name, you don't have to go to the Himalayas, any of that stuff, is just to learn how to monitor your breath and slow your breath and bring your attention to the focusing on this in-breath and this out-breath. It's one of the core principles of meditation, and it really is about taking your attention and focusing it on some internal node, some internal nexus of control that is really tied to everything, right? Like you stop breathing, you're dead. And so, I mean, it is real. It's not abstract. You're not thinking about the stock market. You're not thinking about the future. You're just focusing on this nourishing breath that's keeping you alive. And you know what? 10 breaths, 20 breaths, whatever it takes. It's like anything else. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you develop that skill, then you're home. And then you operate from this place, looking outward, coming from a place of balance, instead of looking for something out there in the world to fix the problems that you have because you're a hungry ghost. And so bringing it inward and focusing in on yourself first then allows you to have a much more holistic view of what the world is about when you're not needy.
You know, I hear so often people say, I can't meditate. That's a lie. Stop lying to yourself. Everyone can meditate. And it doesn't have to be something where it's like super sacred, go to an ashram. It can be as simple as the moment your eyes pop open, you decide that you're going to listen to yourself first, that you're going to tune into yourself, and that you're going to connect to that higher resonance. Whether you want to call it God, the universe, you know, whatever you want to call it, you can call it any name that you want, but if the more you're connected to that, the better health you're going to have, because you are now in complete harmony with yourself. You're resonating completely on that frequency. And this is why, you know, so many people can't put their finger on why they have so much energy after they meditate. Why is it things change so profoundly? And it's because you're now resonating with complete alignment in who you are meant to be in this world. It's in Sanskrit called buddhi. It's when that moment when you feel most like yourself. This is something that's been, you know, recognized in a lot of these cultures where they have these mind-body practices. Maybe they have priests, maybe they have medicine women, maybe they have medicine men, maybe they have you know, a temple that they visit, but you know, something that unifies all of them is a practice and a routine and a ritual. If we can bring it back to that place of, you know, what do I need to really move into that space of feeling most like myself and to connect to that higher power? For some people, yeah, meditation. For some people, it's prayer. Other people, you know, they're walking a stone path in a garden with just their thoughts to get into that mindfulness place. Whatever it is for you, if you're denying that part of your body, you'll never truly heal yourself.
So meditation, I think, is no longer a luxury. It's no longer like a pedicure for your brain. It's actually the single most important piece of mental hygiene that we need to be practicing, not only for our individual health, but for the health of the collective. Because the reality is we are social creatures. We feel each other. Mirror neurons are real. And so if you walk into a room stressed, that has an impact on everyone around you. But if you walk into a room rested, present, blissful, that also has an impact on everyone around you. And so I know that meditation can sometimes seem selfish, like I don't have time, my kids need me, my boss needs me, but I think that meditation is the least selfish thing that you can do, because as you heal yourself, you help to heal the collective.
And gradually, over time and with practice, we are able to focus more on the present, more on our mantra, more on our breathing. And there's something that's very special about that practice. People who start doing that start building greater purpose.
And when you have an alignment with your mission and your purpose, and you have an alignment with the environment around you, you make energy, and that energy becomes willpower. That energy becomes thoughts, that energy becomes feelings, and that energy becomes action. Or that energy could just become watching TV all day long. And if that's where you're going, you will suddenly make less energy. And when you make less energy, you don't make it as well, you start to get old.
Τον καιρό που έπρεπε να σταματήσω να πάω να γυρίσεις, να πίνεις, να γλεντάς με γυναίκες, πέρασε λοιπόν. Τώρα είναι το μόνο που με ευχαριστεί.
Δεν σταμάτησα ποτέ να εργάζομαι, να περπατώ, να οδηγώ αυτοκίνητο, να κάνω ταξίδια μεγάλα, να βοηθώ κόσμο.
Hanusimi.
When we first met Hideko, we were amazed. She's the epitome of healthy aging, and her ability to interact with her environment through gardening and walking 2 or 3 kilometers to her friend's house, to read the paper without any glasses, and to function in a way that I've never seen before in a 97-year-old. And every morning she would have a routine of getting up and walking to the gate and opening the gate, grabbing the newspaper and coming back. You could tell that her routine was important to her garden was important to her, and these were the things that she lived for. Her daughter was telling us about how she would climb orange trees at 95 by herself. Her love for working in the garden and her ability to till up her soil and cut down sugarcane really blew us away and showed us what's possible at the age of 97, and really gave us an idea for a template of longevity or healthy aging. Even to this day, she still defies what you think she might be capable of. Her willingness to engage her environment is pretty remarkable at the age of 97.
Health is a willingness to engage life, and what it takes to fully engage life is the bravery to do the things that you love to do in life, and then life becomes a labor of love, and a labor of love is sustainable.
To me, we do ourselves a disservice when we think that our purpose has to be this grandiose thing where we're feeding every single hungry person in the world, give clean water to everybody in the world. All these things that oftentimes make us feel significant, at least make us think that we'll feel significant. But when we're just trying to think in those glorified terms, I think we need to check ourselves. The wise philosopher Ice Cube once said, we better check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. So that grandiosity vision, that might not actually be our real search for purpose. It might be us compensating for our unresolved pain, where our unresolved pain essentially boils down to a feeling of I'm insignificant. So then we create these grand visions that are engineered to make us escape our sense of insignificance that we're still not resolving. It's like, okay, now I'll be significant if I win 7 Tour de France's and make this amount of money, and I'll just say that I'm helping this number of people, but I really get all that recognition. To me, true purpose has nothing to do with getting noticed, nor does it have anything to do with avoiding getting noticed. I think the noticing is just a complete byproduct. But how do we know when we're connecting with our purpose? I think we feel filled up from it.
So a big question is, what is a big life? Richard Branson lives a big life, and actually I really admire that kind of big life. He's always out there, you know. He is like the poster child for living the big life. I'll tell you another person who lives a big life, a custodian we met at Mott Children's Hospital. He's a custodian who follows the kids who are dying of cancer, maybe. And these kids, some of them never have their parents come to visit because they're too busy or disengaged for some reason. And I spent a fair amount of time in this hospital with our daughter, and I would notice this custodian would stop at children who never had parents coming in and would read them children's stories. And it makes me emotional just thinking about this. But you talk to that custodian and they'll say, I'm part of the medical team. And the medical team knows that too. So this person plays a very important role. That person has a very big life. And I get kind of emotional thinking about that, because what it makes you understand is that you can have a deep purpose. You can craft a purpose out of just about anything and turn it into something of great meaning.
So when I was a long time ago a hospice nurse, I used to go and help people transition to the next phase of life through death. And one of the most amazing deaths that I helped, and she remained happy through the entire thing as she transitioned, was an alcoholic woman. And her spiritual connection was the 12-step program. And I realized that it didn't matter what your spiritual connection was. It could be that you're Mormon, or you're a Seventh-day Adventist, or you're Catholic, or you're Muslim, or you're Jewish, of any of these spiritual traditions, or even not a religion. But if you had that, you died well. You didn't die with fear, because you had enough self-awareness about who you are, what you're here for, and what you were here to accomplish, and kind of where you stand as you're leaving.
Feeling like you're part of this great whole, that you belong to the universe, that you have a right to be here, and that there is a divine and sacred purpose for your life is a critical part, I think, of really being truly healthy. So whatever you choose to believe is up to you, but believing that you're part of this and that you're here for reasons, I think is really important.
When we're not connected to something greater than ourselves, maybe we never get disconnected, but our awareness about it kind of bleeps out for a while. I think suffering ensues. The Zen people would say all suffering is caused by a sense of separation. So when we don't have awareness of our connection to something greater than ourselves, we get stressed, we get unnerved, we feel all alone in this interesting miracle called life that ironically has more support for us than we can possibly recognize. So it might be a connection to Mother Nature. I think surfers are out there in a very spiritual practice that they don't call spiritual. They're connected to something much greater than themselves. This beautiful ocean, which is just one dimension of Mother Nature.
Well, I think surfers are, I would say, our
being a surfer. I think our connection to spirituality is connected to the ocean and connected to our relationship with the ocean. And, you know, if the ocean doesn't make you spiritual, then I don't really know what can, what will. You know, if you want to talk on a science level, I mean, when you talk about spirit, you talk about breath. And then you talk about the ocean, you talk about holding your breath. You know, the relationship between air and breathing and water and drowning is pretty, you know, that's pretty intimate. And so, you know, I think there's a, you know, I always believe that there's a physical manifestation of a spiritual or emotional concept. And so there's some physical things that happen, but surfers' connection to the ocean, I think, is what really makes us spiritual.
The real question is, where do you want to spend your days? Who do you want to spend them with? Are you living the life you should be living, and are you making an impact, and what's your legacy? And then once you're on that passion and that desire to continue to serve drives you to want to still be here and want to serve and want to be a part of this goodness that you're spreading on the planet. And then absolutely use the technology, use the hacks, use all these things to keep the ship sailing in that direction. But without that bearing that is going to drive and dictate where the ship is going, that's like being a ghost ship, right? You're just wandering aimlessly in the sea for what?
I think when we're pursuing this journey of longevity, we have to find something to live for. We have to find our purpose, and our purpose might be to find our purpose. That might be our initial purpose. Otherwise, I think the pursuit of longevity is just a fancy way of saying, I'm scared of death.
If we were taught death and life is this beautiful story here on earth, the natural cycles, we would just the same not have as much fear and or shame around what death represents to us.
Δεν σκέφτηκα ποτέ μου το θάνατο. Αυτός δεν τον αποφεύγω με τίποτα. Και το Θεό μπάρβα να έχω. Άμα θα έρθει η ώρα μου, σκέφτομαι μόνο τι δουλειές θα κάνω.
Are we running from death, or are we chasing health? And this to me is a pivotal and imperative question to answer. I do not think that death is an avoidable tragedy. And that's how we treat it in the West. We treat death like it's an avoidable tragedy. But if we're looking at longevity as a means by which to optimize our life, to optimize our health, to start living more in accordance with nature, then this seems like a very worthwhile pursuit.
I don't think longevity in and of itself is a core value. Quality of life is a core value. And that has many elements, one of which is health.
It's really easy to rack up a score and say, look, I lived till this number. But what does that mean? Empty years are empty years, right? And so were they filled with passion? Were they filled with time with family and loved ones? What was your purpose? What were you doing? Did you enjoy the sunshine? Did you move around like you wanted to? And so these types of things are way more important than this idea of longevity, just extending life for just that reason.
Our primary focus instead of longevity should be happiness, because that happiness is the key to longevity versus the opposite. Living longer won't make you happy, but being happy will allow you to live longer.
The goal really in our life, when you look at everything we try to accomplish, is to try to be like a child. You just try to be completely satisfied in your life. Know that your needs are going to be met. Have complete confidence in who you are. Be in love with who you are. What you look like, not wanting to change a thing. Look in the mirror and just enjoy yourself. Children do that. We're always trying to get back to that state of a child. When we get back to the state of a child, now that youthful glow, that joy, that laughter, that energy that attracts us to human anyway, is now all culminated within our body, and that truly is what propels us into longevity.